Hello, folks. This is Thoughts from the Mentally Ill. I know it's been a while since I've done a post, and I apologize for that. I just haven't had my heart into it, and as you can imagine, with most mental illnesses, it's you sometimes don't want to exist, let alone make a video. Um, but I wanted to discuss something with you today. I thought that we should have a come to Jesus moment with Trump, the presidential election, and Biden, and this whole virus stimulus package. So I'll try to make this as brief as possible. I'm going to do it in one take. So please bear with me. I don't have any editing software, so it's going to be a little rough. But let's get down to it. I have heard people slander Trump and say that he is the devil, that he is the Antichrist incarnate, that he is racist, sexist, and all of this nonsense. Trump is many things, much of it not good. I'm not a big fan of him personally. As a matter of fact, when I say I'm not a big fan, I would say I dislike him. I don't like his personality at all. He's a narcissist. Um he I wouldn't say he lies, but he believes his own hype so much that um, he believes whatever he says is true, which is just ignorance or misinformation. Take a look at the whole malaria drug thing. Fauci is trying to tell him that hold back. There's not enough data for this, and he's going full steam ahead, believing the hype train. So I wouldn't say he's a liar, but he's definitely not the person you want to come to for facts. Is he a cheater? Yeah, he cheated on his wife, probably all his wives. I wouldn't surprise. So he's got a lot of character flaw. He's not his temperament and his wording is not presidential. So he's definitely got flaws. But is he a racist? No. Show me one racist policy that he's made. I'll wait. What you want to bring up the border wall? So stopping illegal immigrants is racist. Okay. Let's see how Sweden feels about that. Let's show you a world with unchecked immigration. Sweden, out of the goodness of their hearts, decided to take on all the Muslim refugees, um, and just piled them into Sweden. Now the Swedish people have parts of their own country that they can't go to because they're too scared. They're scared of the Muslim population in their own country, whom they let in and tried to protect, tried to give them homes, tried to give them jobs. Why? Because the Muslims don't look at them as equals. They're not looking at them as saviors. I know some of them do, but the rape has gone through the roof, beatings. The police don't even patrol those areas anymore. Effectively, the Swedish have lost their own country. In a few years, there will be more immigrants in that country than nationalized citizens, which means the entire identity of that country is gone. Their value system, their morals, their laws all go out the window because they are no longer the majority. Now you're looking at things like Sharia law in Sweden. In Sweden, Sharia law, um, anti-gay policies, um, you know, uh, anti-woman policies. You know, this is what happens when you have unchecked immigration. So let's look at the United States. That seems like a little harsh example, but it happened. Look it up yourself. It's a very scary situation for Sweden. Could that happen over here? Well, let's say you have a few million illegal immigrants come over every year. Within, let's say, within let's say 3 million per year. This is a low estimate, by the way. If you just opened up the floodgates, it would be insane amounts. Well, let's say it trickles in at first at 3 million per year. Within 10 years, you'd have about 1/10 of the United States population that had flooded in being illegal immigrants. They would not be properly integrated into the country. Our infrastructure could not handle them. There would not be jobs for them because we can only create a few new million jobs a year. And while the unemployment rate was low until this virus, you know, we still can't magically just make jobs come out of nowhere. We don't have schooling for this. So, you have a bunch of people that don't speak the national language, whether or not we want to admit it, is English. It is Americanized English. Um, but this is what would happen to our country. We would just have a flood of people, and they would be mooching off the system. They'd be taking health care. They'd be taking schooling. They wouldn't be taxed. Well, what if we start taxing them? Well, we had to find jobs for them, which means that we have to have infrastructure for jobs, which means we need a complete overhaul of our infrastructure. You'd have to have translators and all this nonsense just to get this going. That's just 10 years. What happens in 20 years? 30 years? What happens if it's not 3 million a year? Because we already have immigration at 1 million a year. What happens when it's 5, 10 million a year within 3 years? Your entire infrastructure change. And like I said, they're not integrating into this country. They're staying in their own little private groups. The great thing about America is that we are a melting pot. The Irish used to be treated like trash in this country. The Asians used to be treated like trash. Asians now out earn white people. They're the top earners in this country. That's not racist. They just have it's the way they've integrated and the way that they've set up their family units is that they set them up to succeed. You will become doctors. You will become engineers. You'll become scientists. You will elevate us. Within a couple generations of coming over here from Asia, a family can be in high standing, very wealthy, within one or two. Amazing. Um, which we will get back to that in a minute. So I know I'm rambling here a little bit, but you see the problem with unchecked immigration, that it's got its flaws. It's far from perfect. It stresses the system. It has too many damn flaws, and it impacts the country in a negative way because the values change. Where you had American values become, well, now they're just Mexican values because of the influx of Mexican immigrants or Honduras immigrants. So you have a Latina, or not Latina, Latino um, value system, no longer American, within just a few years of the entire Central, South, and Mexican nations just rising up and moving up here. So that doesn't work. So it's not racist to be against that. All right. Uh, is he racist towards African American community? No. Once again, show me racist policies. A matter of fact, the black community has not been this empowered since the days of them marching over Jim Crow. For the longest time, and if you look at every major city, you'll notice um, that the most of the time, the majority of the government is Democrat, because everyone likes to say, "Oh, the Republicans, they're so racist." Um, they're out to oppress the minority communities. No, actually, they're trying to make you not dependent on the U.S. government, and the Democrats want control over you, which is oppression, which eventually is racism. They want you poor. They want you fighting within yourselves. White America stopped doing that a long time ago. There was a lot of infighting between different cultures, but we blended together and became a melting pot. And as a white American, I say, come on, Latinos, come on, African Americans, melt your culture into ours, make us one. What I have is for you. My Polish culture is open for you. Enjoy it. Enjoy the guamki and the pierogi. You know, so we should stop trying to segregate ourselves. But that's what Democrats want. They want you segregated. They want you infighting. They want you on welfare. They want you not educated. They want you not to go to trade schools. They want you not to go to college. And as long as you're poor, unarmed, and relying on them solely for existence with welfare, they have their thumb on you. They control you. And you vote Democrat because you need them. But the Republicans haven't done that. They say you can you can lift yourself up. Look at the Asian community. They were despised. They were treated like crap. They were blown up during Manifest Destiny, trying to build a railroad to the West Coast. They were constantly killed and treated like cannon fodder. But now they're the top earners in this country. Why can't the African American community do that? Because the Democrats don't want you to do it. But Trump is not doing that. He is overseeing one of the greatest economies this world has ever known. He is overseeing one of the lowest unemployment rates the world has ever seen. The unemployment rate for the African American community is at a historical low, which means African Americans are working, they're getting off the welfare system, and that goes for whites too. Poor whites. Poor whites are There are more poor whites than there are African Americans. But what's going on is that he's slowly empowering these people. And what is the least racist thing you can do for the black community? Empower them. Give these people jobs. Help them go through college. Get them good jobs. And what happens is within a generation or two of this, of hard working, of going to trade schools, of going to college, you take someone who's been oppressed and living off welfare, you give him a job or her a job. They work hard, they save money, they're able to support themselves without the help of the system. So now they can think for themselves. They don't need Democrats, vote. So they start thinking for themselves. So what happens is they send their kids to college. Those kids go to college and get good jobs and they can pay. Well, they help their parents out of poverty even further and they raise themselves up even higher. They're now middle class. They're now upper middle class. Living the American dream. But then they start looking at the Democrats and go, well, what's going on here? They just keep wanting my money now. Now that I'm not poor, they're trying to take away all my money and give it away to the rest of these people. So what they're doing is that they're trying to raise up the poor class and knock down the middle class, because what happens is the poor class is still going to need uh, the Democrats um, for all everything that they have, and then because the middle class is now worth less, they now need the Democrats to give them some sort of welfare. You see how this works? The less you rely on the government, the stronger you will be. The government is bloated. It is too big. It requires too much to run, and that is what's sucking up your taxpayer money. But most people don't realize this. And they just blame the Republican Party. And they say things like Trump is a racist. No, he's not a racist. He is empowering you, he is trying to uplift you. If you let this go on, you will be in a far better position than you have ever been during Bush's administration, Clinton's administration, Bush II's administration, Obama's administration. You will be able to fend for yourself. What greater empowerment is that? We're at 16-minute mark, so I'm dragging this out a little. Um, is Trump sexist? Yes, I think so. Um, I mean, he just only marries models, and um, he's had many accusations, and I do want to say this: as much as people want to say, "Oh, he's a sexual predator," accusation doesn't equal guilt. Everyone needs to bring this. If you have been sexually assaulted, go to the police. Make your voice heard. Put these people in jail. There is no rape culture in the United States. If there is evidence and you can help them reach that, they will put rapists away. No one likes rapists. But then Biden uh, got um, uh, got has a sexual assault allegation lobbied against him. Not lobbied, lobbed against him. So that's kind of interesting. I want to see how the left handles this, because the right's position is that let it serve, let it go to court. Accusation does not equal guilt, because if we just start accusing people of stuff and everyone's convicted over every accusation, we're in deep shit. Let's be honest right now. Um, so I'm kind of curious how the left is going to handle this, because they skewered Trump over this, over sexual assault, accusations. The whole grab him by the pee thing. How are they going to handle Biden's one? Because here's the thing: if listen and believe is your position, not listen and investigate thoroughly. Their whole slogan is listen and believe, which is just dangerous. Um, they have no choice not to vote for Biden. That, or they're just hypocrites. Sexual assault's only bad when Trump does it. So you have to stand by, because the right's going to stand by their initial position, which is accusation doesn't equal guilt. This woman is coming literally 30 years later to lob this accusation towards Biden. Well, accusation doesn't equal guilt. So the right or the centrists will be like, okay, well, he's accused. Show me the evidence. The the left, on the other hand, this whole time have been bashing this whole Me Too movement thing down our throats, and it's kind of crazy. So it's either the left are a bunch of hypocrites and will completely vote for Biden, or what? You're gonna vote third party? You're gonna vote for the Green Group, Independents? What are you gonna do? But I bet you that the left will still vote for Biden, because They are more concerned with defeating their enemy that they're willing to let a lesser enemy through the gates. They're willing to sacrifice their morals just to get rid of Trump. And I will bet you dollars and dimes that that's the case. Another thing about Biden that really concerns me recently, and I want to pull this up because I want people to listen to this. So let me pull this up and then we'll discuss it real quick.
Not allowed to own anyway. I'm not taking your gun away at all. You need 100 rounds? No. I did not say that. That's not true. I did not say that. It's a viral video like the other ones you're putting out there. They're saying they lie.
Well, he just clarified it.
Wait. Take your AR-14s and look.
Hold on. Hey, let's get moving. There's a lot of guys wanting this.
I'm not worried.
Give me a break. There's a lot of guys
Look, here's the deal. Are you able to own a machine gun? I said, are you able to own one? That's great. AR-15's illegal. No, it's not. Yeah, do you need 100 rounds? Do you need 100 rounds?
In America, with handguns, there are what you call assault rifles. Why are you advocating for assault rifles when people are dying by handguns?
Okay, let's...
I represent my individual mind. Thank you. I'm representing me because I'm a fucking
But he
American.
answered your question and you kept on it.
That's fine. You guys have your own point of view.
Yeah, well, that's right. You're wrong, bro.
Now, I want to thank The Guardian for grabbing that footage. It's not my footage. I just want to thank them for posting it because people needed to see that. So let's talk about exactly what happened there. You have a person who, on record, and this is what the worker was battling him over for initially, said that he wanted to take away guns. Biden's like, no, I didn't say that. And he's like, well, we got you on audio evidence, on video, proving that you had said this. He's like, no, it didn't happen. So we have a situation of fake news, because it goes against um, what he's trying to say. Um, okay. Then he goes, you don't. He keeps on saying throughout the whole thing is you don't need 100 rounds. Really, when does the government get to dictate how much ammunition it takes for me to defend my family and my liberty? You want me to only have 12 bullets against the entire government? Because let's look at it. There's only three reasons why you own a gun: to hunt, to defend your forgive me, to defend your um, uh, life and liberty against an armed or a civilian that's trying to harm you and your family, but it's against a civilian. It's against just a normal person or persons. And then you need a gun against a tyrannical government. And trust me, people, a tyrannical government could happen at any time. It could happen later this year, or it could happen 100 years from now. We don't know. But our government is completely capable of being tyrannical. And I can explain it why, because we have socialist people. They want to, once again, it's that welfare. They want to put you under that thumb. So what they want to do first is make you economically dependent on them, and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, give up your guns, or we're going to take away, we're going to take away your rights. We're going to take away your means of survival." And they're like, "Okay, here are guns," and now you have no ability to defend yourself. game over. The government's got you. That's how socialism works every time. Look at the Cold War Soviet Union. Look at Venezuela. Look at China. Look at Korea. Anytime Cuba. Look at any time socialism, true socialism has been put into place. Socialism cannot work in a country this size. It just can't, and especially not when we're 20 something trillion dollars in debt, 22, 23 now, thanks to the stimulus plan. So, so he's saying you don't need 100 rounds. He also says you don't need an AR-14, which, by the way, what the hell is an AR-14? But then he corrects himself later on and says AR-15. Um, so he goes on to say you don't need an AR-15. Who are you to decide what weapons I use to defend myself against a tyrannical government? You've already said that machine guns are illegal. Well, yeah, machine guns are a little over the top, but a semi automatic rifle, that's what the average grunt in the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force has. They have, an M16 or an M4. You know what I'm saying? So why aren't you allowed to have the same weapons that the military uses that the military would use against you to defend yourself against the military? And most of the military would not go for an order that was unconstitutional, attack against the people, but a small percentage would. I mean, a small percentage of the police forces would. If you are anti-Trump, you should be pro-gun. If he is so scary and so freaking horrible, you should be legally armed to your teeth in case that guy decides that he's just not going to leave and he gets a backing and there's a coup. You think that the Democrats would be full on hard, standing half mast, over the thought of arming themselves. So yeah, you do need 100 rounds. Yes, you do need or an AR-15 or whatever else you're using to defend yourself, your family, your liberty, your life. And Biden doesn't see that. That's dangerous. He doesn't think you should be able to defend yourself. Yeah, you should be able to hunt. I got a 20 gauge and a 12 gauge. Yeah, a 20 gauge and a 12 gauge. What happens after you rack your six and it's over? You're a dead man. So well, I say everyone should be armed. White, black, Asian, Mexican. Don't matter who you are. Doesn't matter your nationality. You should be legally armed. If you are a law-abiding citizen and want to defend yourself, go get a gun. Um, and this is coming from a person who can't own a gun because I've been institutionalized so many times. So I'm like 95% certain I can't get a gun, so I don't try. Not that it's probably good that I have one, but that's why there's safeguards in place. Anyways, let's see. We touched up on Trump races. So here's the thing: you have a guy that's Biden lies to get his way, Trump lies to get his own way. But has Trump really done a bad job? Before the virus, everything was running smoothly. Everything was going great. The economy had seen gains that it had never. The stock market had never been higher. The unemployment rates have never been lower. And I will say this now, and this is for the Republican and conservative people. Obama did to help that. He did help that because when Trump came into office, his unemployment rate was 4.6%. Obama started with like an unemployment rate of like 10. It was insane, 10%. So Obama over 2 terms, he didn't do crap over his first term, but by the time his second term came about, the unemployment rate was 4%, 4.6%. So Obama did do that. And I don't care who sees this and who has a problem with this. Yes, Trump took what Obama did and made it better. Over the next 4 years, he ran it because if he was running the economy poorly, he would have screwed up that unemployment. And that's after battling China over tariffs and trade laws and making sure that our proprietary uh, technology stops being stolen and reproduced by the Chinese, despite them being uh, what's it called, patented. So even though we have all these patents, the Chinese steals everyone's stuff anyway and produces it for a cheaper price. He's trying to stop the slave labor, so you don't have people in China jumping into nets out of windows because they're sick and tired of life and building iPhones all day. These are real things. So he needed to battle China. So was he bad for that? No. He handles other countries. He doesn't put up with their crap. It's our way or the highway. We are the world leader. It's either support us, you're with us, or you're not with us. If you're with us, stand beside us. If you're not with us, get the fuck out of our way. And that's the simple thing. So let's the final thing. Oh, we're at 31 minutes. Um, the final thing I want to discuss is what my friend online referred to as corporate welfare and the stimulus plan. He posted a thing saying that the Canadian stimulus plan was so much better than the U.S. plan, and it was basically this anti-capitalism thing. If I could find it, I would, but it was just so stupid. Basically, calling stimulus plan corporate welfare and slamming it for not giving more money to the people. It said that Canada gets $2,000 for the next 4 months for its citizens who are unemployed. Well, America's stimulus plan, you get $600 a week on top of your state's unemployment. So that's $2,400 U.S. Dollars on top of uh, your your um, your unemployment. So how is the Canadian better? And how the hell is it welfare for the when you get money to help you go? Do you look down on yourself? Or do you like, oh yeah, good money to help me. I deserve this. Well, why do the corporations not deserve it, but you do? Because if you do not give money to those corporations and they go under, you lose your job. You have no job to come back to after this virus dies out. Those companies needs help too, because a lot of small businesses are only a few months away at most of failing. Something like this will crush them. Even big corporations can't take hits like this, like the travel industry, the airline industry, there are many others. You cannot take hits like that and keep going. So if you want a job to come back to, you help them out. Yes, they need billions of dollars to help them out, and probably more. Because if you don't do that, you have no job to come back to, and then you have because they said already like 1 in 10 Americans are now unemployed because of this, and this is just the beginning. So you're talking 10 to 15% unemployment when this is done. And if those companies are gone, you're boned because after a year you're still unemployed. Your unemployment ran out. The government can't keep paying you indefinitely. We're already in the red. So what do? You just go under. So instead of looking at it as anti-capitalism, capitalism evil, socialism good, look at it as a basic protection plan to help you out. Because guess what? If you're just a McDonald's worker or if you're just a basic laborer, who would they rather hire? The tradesman that was laid off, the university educated person that was laid off, that they could hire to do your job for the same price, except these people are dedicated. They've shown that they're willing to go and complete tasks by finishing their degrees. Do, 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 when they can have educated, skilled labor for unskilled labor prices, what happens to you? Think about it. So this is what I have to say. This is my final thoughts because this has dragged on too long. Is Trump evil? Eh. Is he a bad president? No. Is what Joe Biden stands for somewhat dangerous? Well, since he can't grasp the simple basics of defending this country and defending your family and defending yourself against a tyrannical government, yeah, that's kind of a worrisome thing. Especially, he's starting to act like he's got dementia, which is a little concerning. Um, is corporate welfare required for this country to continue? Yes. It's not corporate welfare, it's just loans. It's forgivable loans. So you make up your own mind. Has Trump helped or hurt this country more? And don't let people say, "Oh, he's created this racial divide." No, this was going on during the Obama administration, and um, he didn't do that. It's the people doing that. It's the blind hatred doing that. So, is he worthy of reelection? Do you want socialism? And are you willing to collapse the entire country, put us into a depression for the next 10 years just because you think capitalism is evil? Really think about this. All right. This has been Thoughts from the Mentally Ill. Peace. Long life.